I have to talk about facts because I think it's important.
We have to talk about facts, people. Welcome, everybody. It is the end of the season club ranking. We're going to rank, I don't know how many teams I have on the tier list. I think I have about 29 to 30, but we're going to rank every team who had a good season, who had a terrible season, which season needs to go straight into the garbage and forgotten forever. We're going to discuss about the big teams around Europe. You give your thoughts in the comments down below. Of course, we don't go live as much as we used to. Obviously, we do that for the international tournaments when we do the recaps and everything. But if you could do so kindly, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're around here. And we're going to have a lot of club content anyways on the channel in the summer. Mostly talking about transfers, real transfers, not transfer rumors. Oh, this guy would look good there. Maybe we'll be doing like some rebuilding videos like for Juventus, maybe Manchester United, maybe Milan, those sort of teams. We could do rebuilding videos. If you want to see that sort of content, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But big up to everybody in the chat already. Big up to Brandon Blanco. Big up this is fucking crazy. Man said Cardio Bellingham. Wow. Big up Anthony. This comment is in multiple parts. I watched your UCL final prediction video. I know you said you back Inter to win, and that's what I'm hoping for, but I'm worried about the defense. Yep, I do agree. I do agree. Big up to Matt, as always. Big up to Cardio Bellingham. Context matters or silverware for criteria. We'll talk about it. In depth. Oh, this team won that, but maybe we'll talk about it. You'll see. Big up to Zane. Big up to AK as well, people. All right. You guys ready to see the tier list? You ready to see the names? Here are the names. And of course, because this is not a Premier League channel, La Liga channel, Serie A channel, I had to throw in some Eredivisie teams. I had to throw in some Liga Portugal teams. So Benfica, Porto fans, Sporting fans, this is a safe haven. This is like therapy for you for this season. If you're a Sporting fan, you're probably still hungover from the weekend. And if you're a Benfica fan, I would go into hiding. I would go to, I don't know, Cabo Verde, Angola right now and just hide because it ain't looking good whatsoever. Then we obviously got some Bundesliga, I was going to say Bayern Munich teams, Bundesliga teams, and all of that. So big up to everybody. Big up Empty, Tapiwa, how you doing, bro? Big up to Samuel saying Rui Costa out. Oh, here we go. Big up Singh as well, Rams. Oh, I can imagine we're going to get a very diverse sort of comments right here. Oh, some people will love to see this team failing. Oh, this team, we love to see it hate along after hate along. Let's see your comments in the chat right now and your comments and your thoughts in the comments down below. Big up to Kid as well in the chat. All right, let's begin, people. So RB Leipzig. I can't lie, people. I'm loving this. I'm loving this. One is the team has always just taken the supreme talents around Europe. You know, obviously Soboslai, Upamecano, Xavi Simons, all those talents over and over again. But this season has been absolutely horrific for RB Leipzig. No European football. Champions League, they couldn't even make it in the top 24. Now, granted, they did have a very difficult schedule in the Champions League, but RB Leipzig, as we have known in the last couple of years, I think they have made every single Champions League since they got promoted. I think that's the case since like 2017. They always finished top 4 in the Bundesliga or top 5, whichever. I think it was last season when the Bundesliga got 5 teams. RB Leipzig have been consistently a good team. This year, though, it is in the gutter, people. And if you can see the criteria, we got fantastic, good, decent, forget and move on. In the gutter. In the gutter, it's just like you never want to think about this season again. I think the issue for RB Leipzig is the talent pool is not what it's supposed to be. You know, Veerman, he's a decent player. Hertruda, Shesko, Xavi Simons, like Open, they got so many ballers, RB Leipzig. But it's just been a calamity. Tactics-wise, it's not been good enough. Players don't seem motivated to play for the team. You're going to see a whole rebuild for RB Leipzig. You're going to see a lot of these players go. Xavi Simons, Šeško. I could even see Hertroida move on. You're going to see a lot of these guys move on, right? It's just the way this season has gone for them. It's best to just move on and forget about it and just put it in the gutter ASAP. And RB Leipzig, but I think people will be very happy to see them failing, and especially Bundesliga fans, because they're not a club with history. They're a plastic team basically, and they've always been consistently good in the Bundesliga. They've won DFB Pokals. They've made it to a semifinal of the UCL, but all those talents leaving finally caught up to them, and I'm intrigued to see what they do next season, because if next season also goes bad, more players will leave. More players leave. Like, all these players just use RB Leipzig as a stepping stone to get to a bigger club. And I think that's what's going to happen with Šeško, to Xavi Simons. Yeah, but this season, straight in the gutter, it's been terrible. Absolutely terrible. Did they pick up one victory in the Champions League? 1 or 2 victories, if I'm not mistaken. It was terrible to watch. Yeah, Šeško might be overrated. No, I think people are being very harsh. See, people want to be harsh on Šeško. The guy is 21 years old. 21 years old, right? Why do you want to give up on a talent like that at 21 years old? The guy is supreme talent. I know he kind of effed up in the Euros, especially against Portugal, but Šeško is still a baller. Just give him time. Isak at 21 wasn't amazing. Oh, the only striker right now in the world that he was amazing at 21 was Haaland. Nobody else can touch the levels that Haaland was at 21, or Mbappe now that he's a striker. Šeško just needs to be given time. I rate Xavi Simons. I have no clue where Xavi Simons is going to go, by the way. No clue where he's going to go. That is going to be an intriguing transfer to see what happens to him. Should we, bro? Should we? I mean, you guys did lose to Mamelodi Sundowns, so... In the gutter. Yep, exactly. I have no clue, bro. I don't know where he should go. In all honesty, he probably should go to... I think Milan would be a good option. No, not Milan. I think actually Juventus would be a good move for Šeško. I think that would be a good move for him. They're the oil club before the oil club take over the top 5 league. Yeah, they're kind of the oil club. I seen Salzburg also. Yep. Go check out my video I did on the downfall of RB Salzburg. It's not been pretty for them either. He signed, but he's moving on. He's definitely moving on here. All right, let's go on to the next team then, people. Milan. Oh my God, just a disaster. Like, how can you release this shirt, by the way? How do you release this shirt that is elegance? This is just suave. This is amazing kit. And you have Kyle Walker, Emerson Royale, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Chukwueze playing in this kit, Pavlovic, and then you have Conceição running on the sideline with his cigar, just thinking, "Oh, I'm the shit right here." This has been an all-timer of a shit season for Milan. Terrible season. I cannot. You know where this all began, though, for Milan? It began last summer. Last summer, when they signed Emerson Royale, alarm bells immediately, and don't watch Milan this season. They still got amazing players, Leao, Reinders. But once Fonseca was also hired, I was like, okay, he's a decent manager. He did well at Lyon, did decently well at AS Roma. But when they signed Emerson Royale, it just screamed to me, this ownership, sporting director, they don't know what they're doing. And it's just gotten worse. I know they won the Supercoppa against Inter in the final, an amazing game. Milan came back, and we all thought, okay, this is going to be the turning point for Milan this season. When they won the Supercoppa, okay, now go and try and get top 4. Instead, they got worse. They signed João Felix. I'm like, Santi Jimenez. Then Santi Jimenez is getting benched for your... It's just been such an abysmal season for Milan. And I'm really worried that this club, this historic club, is going down a very bad path. I don't know who the manager will be. It should be Conte. If Milan had the cojones, if Zlatan would stop being a social media guy and stop hanging out with Speed and actually focus on the football, what he's supposed to be doing with his work, you go get Conte. Oh, but they didn't want to hire Conte last season because they wanted a coach, not a manager. Look what that manager did. He went to Napoli. We'll talk about that later, but everything about this season for Milan has just been disastrous. The signings, the coaching, the mentality, the tactics, everything has just been in the gutter. And if you guys saw over the weekend, their last game of the season against Monza, the Curva, I think it's the Ultras basically, they left after 15 minutes. It's a protest. They said, go home to Cardinale and the ownership. And I don't blame the fans. Why would you want to pay for that crap? Why would you want to spend? They finished 8th place or 9th place in the Serie A. Milan. Come on now. This is not Milan that we know about. And it's sad. It really is sad because they have so much potential. They have Leao, Theo Hernandez, Santi Jimenez. They have so many ballers. But it's just the signings and the coaching hiring. Hopefully Milan can fix it over the summer. They're hiring a new sporting director. But without ownership, you're doing nothing. And if they sell Reinders to Manchester City, if they sell him for less than 70 million, send Cardinale straight to The Hague. That cannot be allowed whatsoever. It's bad for Milan. They're really, 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 really bad. Really bad. Really bad. We might be entering another bad era for Milan. We might be. Pavlovic was decent for moments. I think he just needs time, but on the ball, this guy is not good enough. He's not good enough so far. Matt, I respect you, buddy. If you're saying that Kyle Walker is one of their better players in the year 2025, he's not. Kyle Walker was not good for them. Just a liability defensively. Even though he's got speed, I don't know what has happened to his reading of the game. It's gotten worse for Kyle Walker. Yeah, João Felix is a horrible signing. We know that, of course. Yeah, it wasn't looking good. Milan were pathetic with the managerial appointment, and the whole blame goes to Zlatan. What exactly? He's just a social media guy. He's just the TikToker, the Instagram influencer. That's Zlatan right now. That is. He messed up big time. I don't think Leao working at Bayern. It would be a little bit tough. Don't disrespect the winning Italian Supercoppa. Don't respect LG. Wait, who's LG? Wolves. No, who counts every Tim Pot trophy? I'm not counting the Supercoppa. I'm not counting the Supercoppa for Barcelona or for Milan. Big up, Uncle Sharma. How you doing, brother? How you doing? Best of luck on Saturday, man. Best of luck on Saturday. Hopefully you can take the trophy. We'll see. Would you sell Magnon, Theo, or Leao? At this point, if you're Milan, I might have to do like a more breakdown or sort of do like a rebuild video. Like, okay, we can sell Theo Hernandez for 30 million to Saudi club. We'll sell Reinders for 70 million. There's 100 million there. What can Milan do with 100 million? You can spend the money wisely for 100 million, but it's just a matter of good negotiating and good scouting. Something that Milan didn't do. Big up Anthony. Hopefully Ipra's role at the club is reduced and Sarah can bring in some good signings. Anthony, you're going to need a prayer. Need a prayer. I'm going to need a prayer. Because that's what Milan need right now. They need a prayer. But hopefully this season is a wake-up call to Cardinale. They had, can you imagine, people? You had such a good momentum after 2022. You had a young core playing good football. Okay, Pioli, he got top 4, but just couldn't take it to the next step. But instead, they went for Fonseca. If Milan's hired Conte, we would be talking about them being Scudetto winners. 100%. He would fix that defense. He would get Leao working, and he would get some striker working as well. Even though it was Alvaro. I can't believe I forgot about Alvaro Morata in this whole entire time. Yeah, he played for Milan this season. I might have to just create my own. I might have to create my own section for Manchester United. Just Bumchester. Big up Stubbs. How you doing, bro? Hopefully you're doing well. Big up Drame. How you doing? Hopefully you're doing well. My friends tell me a Liverpool fan shouldn't be happy because we'll talk about that. Big up PSGINT. Thank you, bro. Like your content a lot. Congrats for Liverpool, Napoli. Hey, congrats for you as well. Good luck on Saturday. Oh, man. If PSG win it, although I do have... Where's my... Where is that jacket? There we go. See, I can't lie. You know, when Air Jordan are sponsoring a kit or a club, you got to get the jacket. I think this is from I think it's the first season that Jordan signed with PSG, or might have been the second season. That jacket is fire. Absolute fire. No, yeah, he's definitely going there. He's definitely going there. Football content. Lee Gunner. Gotcha. You're going to have to help me. He's on the new Ghostbusters link. He is. From what I know, Italiano and Motta are the two favorites from the man. If I see Thiago Motta in Milan, go to church. Go to church if you're a Milan fan. You might have to go to church. Need the white one. They're going after for next year. Some team is getting Air Jordan sponsor next year. I can't remember who is. I can't remember which team it is. All right, let's continue, people. If you haven't done so already, hit the like button. We got 45 of you in the house, and we got 21 likes. Hey, you guys are moving like Ibra right now. You guys are moving like Ibra. Hit the like button if you could do so kindly. All right, let's go to Liverpool. Fantastic. Look, we're not going to be talking about points tally, all this team, all Premier League season. No. Liverpool won the title when most people didn't predict them to win it. Arne Slot's first season. Yes, the Champions League. They went out in the round of 16 to PSG. What did PSG do? They made it to the final of the Champions League. They made it to the Carabao Cup final. Newcastle deservedly won the final. And then obviously they lost to... You know what's funny, people? They lost to this team right here. Well, let's see. See, I got too much merch here, people. They lost. I cannot believe Liverpool lost to Plymouth. To Plymouth. Argyle. Come on, man. You can't lose to Plymouth Argyle. But I think for Arne Slot and Liverpool, it's been a fantastic season. And in times, people were frustrated about the performances. Gravenberch in the second season, he's not performing as well. Salah's form, you could say, in the end of the season, dropped off. Look at what did Alisson say after they won when they lifted the trophy on the final match day? We've been partying for 4 weeks. 4 weeks. These guys couldn't care about playing football for the last 4 to 5 weeks when they beat Spurs to win the title. It was done after that. I think for Liverpool, it's been fantastic, and some of the performances have been really outstanding. I know people want to see total football like Klopp and very high-scoring affairs. I kind of got crazy about that. I was like, my mental health cannot handle it anymore. Just give me a nice controlled 1-0. I'll move on and enjoy my life. And there we go. Liverpool, fantastic season. Now, guys, Liverpool for next season, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but some of the signings that they might be making, they want more. Clearly, Van Dijk and the players spoke to the board and said, let's go. We're going to try and build a dynasty here. And I like that. Finally, they're acting like Liverpool in the transfer window. Not like last summer when they only got Chiesa, who, yes, he got his medal, but offered nothing, and he only scored in the Carabao Cup final and against Accrington Stanley. That's been it. So I think for Liverpool, it's been a fantastic season, and hopefully they can just keep on building upon it. It's now, okay, you did this. Now you need to prove to the rest of the Premier League and people who doubted you and say, oh, maybe you just won it because of the lack of competition from Arsenal to Manchester City. Let's see if Liverpool, next season, let's see if they can get to 90 points. Let's see if they can play even more dominating football. But overall, this season has been fantastic. Some of the performances, Real Madrid at home, Bayer Leverkusen at home, really just absolute domination from the team to also away at Manchester City. I love it. I mean, now people want to negate everything Liverpool have done this season. Oh, look what they have done. I can guarantee you most of those people had them in 8th, 6th, 5th, 6th. Nobody gave any respect to Arne Slot. Now when Liverpool win it, the competition's weak. This sort of nonsense. It's anything to attract attraction to the video, to the shorts people. We can't do that. You have to just say, Liverpool, you deserve it. Same thing to a Sporting, same thing to a Napoli, same thing to a PSG, same thing to Royal Union Saint-Gilloise in Belgium. They're the champions, and deservedly so. And shout out to Rijeka in Croatia. They also won it. But yeah, great season for Liverpool. Mohamed Salah, thank you. That's all I have to say. Considering a lot of Pool fans also doubted Slot too. What a gaffer, man. What a gaffer. I can't lie. I think Liverpool will win the league again next season. But plus, I think Liverpool will go far in the Champions League. Yeah, I think next season, Liverpool are going to do well in the Champions League. Premier League, we'll have to wait. But I think in the Champions League, I think Liverpool will go far. Lord Varys did a good job to my surprise. I did rate him at Feyenoord, but to win Prem in the first season, yeah, it's crazy, man. You go from Eredivisie to the Premier League and you win it. Insane. They should, but you have to remember, there is Manchester City, there is Arsenal, there is still Chelsea, there are still some good teams in the Premier League. Yeah, I would take him. I would take him. I maybe would take him. I had Poole in top 3 since I rated Slot, since we was interested in him the year before. Their only really bad game this season was PSG away. For Liverpool, I would say Plymouth away, PSG away. There was another trash game. I'm trying to remember it. It was another away performance. Spurs away in the Carabao Cup. Those were really bad performances. Really, really bad performances. No, he did. Mike, do transfer window, video middle in the window. Yeah, when they're confirmed transfers, I'm not going to be talking about rumors. I just don't want to do that here on the channel. All right, let's move on. So Lyon, I think it's been a decent season. I mean, it's just wherever John Textor goes, whatever he touches, just like Marinakis, it is going to be a Cowboys show in the sense for John Textor. I mean, Lyon are going to be a disaster. And it's kind of sad to see because they got ballers like Mika Dalce, Cherki, 100% leaving, as we all know. And yes, they qualified to Europe. Actually, where did Lyon finish in Ligue 1? Where did they finish in Ligue 1? Did they finish in the Europa League or Conference League? Oh, boy, I think they finished in Europa League, you know? Europa League, okay, that's not too bad. But we'll have to see if they're even allowed to play in the Europa League this season. It's been like a good season. They actually were quite decent. They were terrible at first. Fonseca comes in, and he actually did a pretty good job. Then he gets suspended for 9 months because he attacked the referee. But I think everything changed after that Manchester United result. When they bottled it the way they did, I think their whole entire season collapsed. Because then they lost to Lens at home. They had really poor performances after the Manchester United result. Because otherwise, they would have been playing in Champions League football. Then you could have maybe seen Cherki stay. They could have made some decent signings. Obviously, Thiago Almada, I think, is going to have a really good season next year. But I think for Lyon, it's looking like dark times. Unless they can fix their financial issues, I'm a little bit worried where they're going to go as a club. But got to give it to Fonseca. After all the negativity at Milan, to go to Lyon and do a good job, I'll give it to Fonseca. I think he got a lot of stick at Milan, so he kind of redeemed himself for this season. But Lyon, decent season. They qualified for Europa League. I think that's a good objective, but they could have gotten to even further in the Europa League because they could have gotten to the semifinal and they could have gotten to Champions League football through the league, but they didn't. Same thing for Atleti. Look, Atleti have had some bright spots this season. The great games against Barcelona. Atleti in Barcelona was must-watch TV this season. Alvarez, a huge bright spot. But you can tell this team is not just complete just yet. They need a couple more signings. Then I think Atleti can challenge Barca and Real Madrid. Decent season. I just wonder, had Atleti beaten Real Madrid in that round of 16 of the Champions League, I think Atleti could have made it to the final. They could have given a tough game to Arsenal. They really would have been a very difficult opponent for PSG. Had Atleti just beaten Real Madrid, I think this season would have been a totally different outcome. They lost to Madrid with the crazy Alvarez penalty. Obviously, he slipped. Then they lost to Barcelona. Then they lost to Barcelona in the Copa del Rey. Everything unraveled in a span of like a week and a half, 2 weeks. So for Atleti, decent season. But I think next season, with some signings, because they're looking like they're going to get Guti Romero, Alex Baena, Atleti mean business. But next season is the pressure cooker. I think that's where Simeone has to deliver some trophy. It has to be a Copa del Rey, at least Simeone. So decent season for Atleti. The way they bottled it to that United side, yeah, it's crazy for Lyon. I know you want to forget Saif, I know. I mean, there were some bright spots for Atleti. Alvarez is a huge plus. To get Julian now for the next 4 to 5 years, you're certified. Griezmann, at least for one more season. I think Griezmann, I think you got to move on for him. You got to move on. I know people want to give praise to Solov. I'm sorry, guys. The guy is a stat patter. Kudos to him for getting another 20 goals, but just something about Sorloth. I don't know. It's something weird with him that in the biggest moments, he might crumble. Let's go winning 2 qualifying rounds of 4 and 5. That would be massive achievement. Yeah, it would be. Hopefully, man. They got to make it to at least some European football. At least Wolves. They have to. Do you think with a better defense, Atleti could have won the UCL? Like you said, Atleti could have made a deep run this year. I think so. Yeah, I think with a better defense, if they had like a Couto Romero in their team, bro, Atleti are making it at least a semifinal against PSG. Now, against PSG, let's see. But they desperately need a CB and another creative player in their team. That's why they're going for Kuti, and that's why they're going for Alex Baena. If they get those 2 signings, Atleti can be a dangerous team next season. I do believe that. Within Sorof and Alvarez, I do see that happening. He barely starts. You mean for Sorof? Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next team. I know you can't see it here, but it is Juventus. I think for Juventus, a decent season as well. Because, oh my God, they've had such a weird season, Juventus. When you like deep it and you kind of go back in the vault and you look at last summer when Giuntoli was making all those signings. Okay, let's bring in Coop Miners. Okay, let's bring in Douglas Luiz. This has just been horrific. Actually, you know what? It might have to be moved down to forget and move on because there's just something about this season for Juventus. They almost bolted it on the final match day against Venezia, people. They went 1-0 down after 2 minutes. Everything about that last game against Venezia was a perfect illustration of Juve this entire season. Calamity, good individual skill because of Yildiz to Conceição. Even though Conceição this season, I feel like he's very inconsistent. But Yildiz is the guy. They have to just build around Yildiz, get a starting striker and some CBs. For the life of me, Giuntoli, I think he's an Interisti at heart. He has to be because why would you sell Huijsen? Why would you sell Huijsen? It was so bad, and obviously Bremer got the ACL tear, that they had to sign Lloyd Kelly. Like, had they just gotten their signings correct, if they got their signings correct, Juve could have then been like in the 3rd place or 4th place comfortably. But their signings were so poor. I think they probably had the worst transfer window last summer. The only one that worked out was Kefran Turan. All of the rest of them, Nico Gonzalez, Conceição, Cabal, hit or miss because he got obviously injured for the rest of the season, so it's kind of hard to say about him. Then obviously Colt Miners to Douglas Luiz. These guys both cost 50 million, 100 million for those 2 players in the midfield, and they don't even start. So for Juve, it's best to forget and move on and just be thankful that you got top 4 football and you got Champions League money. You got the Club World Cup money coming up over the summer. I think Juve, they saved themselves because if they didn't make UCL football, boy, there would have been a lot to pay for. If they can get if they get Conte for next summer and they just get some proper signings, if you're a Juve fan, and if you guys are in the chat right now, who do you think Juve should go for as a CB? And they definitely need a striker. Those are like 2 positions that I think Juventus need desperately. What are 2 players that you think Juventus should go for? I honestly think they should go for like a Gyökeres or a Šeško or an Osimhen. CB-wise, that's going to be a little bit more difficult. Maybe you could go for, I guess, Hincapié, but you already have Bremer, who's a bit more left-sided. Yeah, I guess Araujo from Barcelona. I think that could be a good signing for Juventus on the right side. Then you obviously have Bremer, Araujo on the right side. That probably could work, but Conte, he's going to come in and he will fix these guys. I can guarantee you that for sure. So Juventus, forget, move on. It's been a disaster of a season for them. Sporting have had a fantastic season. They finally won the double. They won the double, I think, for the first time in 24 years. And to think they've had 3 different managers this season. Obviously now Amorim left. Then it was the academy coach guy. I can't remember his name. He lasted like 5 games. They sacked him. They got Rui Borges from Vitória de Guimarães. He kind of like hit or miss with performances. It's been a really weird campaign in Liga Portugal. And then Sporting, they won it on the final match day. Then they win the cup against Benfica. Gyökeres was the 99th minute equalizer. So it's been a fantastic season for all of the trouble they've had with managers, Amorim's future, Champions League campaign, they were top 3 after like 4 match days. That went completely spiraling out of control. To recover like that, still to win 2 trophies and do the double over your greatest rival, I think Sporting fans can be supremely happy. And Yerkeres, the guys, I don't think people understand this. It doesn't matter what league you do this in. To score 97 goals in like 102 appearances for Sporting is absurd. It's absurd numbers. I have to look at what Falcao was doing at Porto. I know Falcao was a beast in the Europa League. He is like the GOAT of the Europa League. But Yerkeres, wow. I mean, what a season from him. Shout out to Trincao. I think Trincao this season as well has been outstanding for Sporting. So both of those players deserve a huge credit. And also Rui Borges to come in season where it looked like it was all going to fall apart. Amorim leaving ship. They still do it. So shout out to Sporting. Fantastic season for them. And look, they can now brag a lot to Benfica fans that they did the double. And I'm pretty sure Benfica fans are hiding right now. Okay, next team then is Inter. I'm going to put Inter here for now. If Inter win the Champions League, they go up to here. They go up to fantastic. As of right now, it's decent. Decent. Inter, I kind of hope they win the Champions League. One, because I predicted them all the way back in August. But it's kind of spiraled out of control as well. It's kind of gone like Benfica. It's kind of gone like other teams around Europe, where it looked like they were going to win multiple trophies, and then they might not win anything. And that game against Lazio, oh man, that game is going to haunt them. The fact they allowed Pedro to score 2 goals, Bicek with a stupid penalty. Inter, they had the chance to win the Scudetto. They bottled it right there. Final match day, they're hoping that Napoli drop points at home. They're not going to do it either. So then the Coppa Italia. I think the Coppa Italia, Milan were just the kryptonite for them. They lost. They didn't win a single game against Milan, who finished in 8th place. And Milan were terrible. Yet they were unbeaten against Milan this entire season. I think it's decent. We can't be super critical of Inter people. Maybe people will banter and say, oh, look at them. They're going to be the Bayern Leverkusen of what was it, 2002 this season. They just needed a bit more going their way. Had they had more going their way, right? They conceded that crazy bicycle kick goal against Orsolini in the final minute against Bologna. They need reinforcements because players like Taremi, they just haven't worked out this season. They need reinforcements over the summer. But I think overall this season, it's decent. But again, I'll say it. If they win this Champions League, they go to fantastic. But for now, it's decent. I think you can't go crazy. If Inzaghi leaves, trouble. I don't care what anybody says. If Inzaghi leaves Inter, they are in serious trouble. What manager is going to get the best out of this aging team? This team is 32 years old of average age. The fact that they competed in 30 more games than Napoli. Do you think Vincenzo Italiano is going to do a good job? Oh, yes, let's go get Thiago Motta. Thiago Motta will help Inter. He will steady the ship. He will compete on all fronts with Mkhitaryan. Then he's got Frattesi Aslani off the bench. People need to wake up a little bit. You kind of need to wake up. If Inzaghi does leave, where there's reports of Al Hilal offering him 20 to 30 million a year, if you're Inzaghi, you're taking the money. But I understand. If Inzaghi does win the Champions League, he might stay on, and then the ownership might back him a little bit more because there have been some rumors of Jonathan David being signed up. He just needs players. He desperately needs more of a team. If Inter want to go and compete for all the competitions, if they want to win the Coppa Italia, if they want to win the Scudetto, they need to do it. But this season has still been decent. They finished in 2nd place. They were competing all the way till the end. It's tough. I think it's still decent, though, for Inter. I still think it's decent for Inter. Bayern Munich, it's good. Vincent Kompany's first season. Look, it hasn't been spectacular. Some of the performances weren't the greatest. We can talk about the Bayer Leverkusen away in the Bundesliga. We can talk about Celtic at home. We can talk about the Barcelona debacle away from home. We can clearly see that Bayern Munich, their goal, win back the Bundesliga, and then next season we got to spend some money. I'm intrigued to know what they will do now, because if they can't get Wirtz, I don't understand why are Bayern Munich not linked to Adamo Lukman. If you can get Adamo Lukman with a Musiala, Olise, who's been outstanding this season for Bayern Munich, with Harry Kane, then in the midfield, hopefully Pavlovic can stay fit for an entire season. You got Pavlovic, you got then Kimmich in the midfield. Really what Bayern Munich need is a center back and right back. That's what they need for the upcoming season, and also a backup striker. Can we get a backup striker, please? I think, though, overall for Vincent Kompany and all the negativity he got heading into this season, going from Burnley to Bayern Munich, did he really deserve to take that huge step in his career? I think he proved a lot of people wrong, considering Bayer Leverkusen went invincible the season before. Vincent Kompany did well. Now, in certain games, you can still see he's a little bit naive, or defensively they were making a lot of individual mistakes, or they're not confronting their chances. I still think, though, it's been a good season for Bayern Munich. Next season, though, there's going to be more pressure on Vincent Kompany to have more consistent performances, and they need their board to do a better job in the window. Like Palhinha. Nobody's talking about Palhinha. That guy cost 60 million or 50 million. And he hasn't been good. I know he had some injuries. He got a red card against, what was the team against? I think it was against Bochum, if I'm not mistaken. But look, Bayern have been linked to Gakpo, Mitoma, Leao. Wonder which of three they will get. If I'm Bayern Munich, out of those three, you're going for Rafael Leao. You're going for Rafael Leao. Can you imagine Leao and Davies? Obviously, Davies now is injured with the ACL. But you get Leao and Davies on one side? That's a cheat code. I don't care what people say, Leao is not that good. If it's any of those three players, if you want to do like a tier ranking of those three players, Bayern should go for Leao, Gakpo, and then Mitoma. But out of all those three players, I would still have Adamo Lukman ahead of those guys. I would. Tom, free agent, bargain signing. He's a good center back. Bayern Munich need a great center back. That's what they need. They need to go for... Who could Bayern Munich go for center back wise? I almost kind of feel like Schlotterbeck. I don't want to do that to Dortmund fans. I feel like Schlotterbeck would be good. Obviously, he's also long-term injured, but I think he would be class at Bayern. To Bayern makes more sense. I think that'd be a good signing too. That would be a really, really good signing for Bayern Munich. All right, next team, Marseille. Decent as well. We didn't see so much controversy around this club this season. There was some parts where De Zerbi had the players locked up in the changing room. They're talking about it. Look, Marseille are still like an enjoyable team, and I do rate De Zerbi. I just don't think he's ready to take a Milan or Inter or Juventus or, a big team for right now. He still needs to build upon it with Marseille. But Marseille have had some bright spots this season. For the life of me, they have to win a cup. Well, I think the last trophy they won was Ligue 1 in 2008 or 2009, if I'm not mistaken. Look, they got back into Champions League football this season. They had some bright spots. They were really kind of maybe fortunate compared to the rest of the teams. Like Monaco had Champions League football to balance out. Lyon had Europa League. Lens didn't have. Lyon had Europa League football, Champions League football. So Marseille kind of benefited from just focusing on one game a week. That's why for next season, what do? I think Højbjerg had a good season. Obviously, Greenwood had a good season. Gouiri, who they got from Stade Rennais, really good impact. I think he got like 10 goals or 11 goals in 14 appearances in the second half of the season. So Marseille have made some good signings, but they got to take that extra step. If you want to challenge PSG, you're going to have to make like a supremely game-changing signing if you want to compete. I don't know how De Zerbi is going to balance out both the Champions League and Ligue 1 for next season. But heck, Marseille back in Champions League football, that's always wonderful to see. And we didn't get so much controversy in the background. It was a little bit more mellow, calm, maybe one little outburst, two little outbursts. But overall, pretty calm settings in Marseille for the first time in a long time. Maybe they can use that for their advantage for the next couple of seasons. Marseille could be balling out next season if they fix their left wing position and their fullbacks. Midfield and attack is very good. Yeah, the attack is very good. Definitely, they need some defense ASAP. They need some defensive work ASAP. I'm just trying to think who would be like a good signing, like in the left back position. You know, let's get Estupinian to Marseille. Left back. Let's get him to there. Let's get him there. Team him up back with De Zerbi. I like to see it. All right. Feyenoord, decent as well, considering all the injuries. I mean, we can't forget people, excuse me. They had almost everybody out injured against Milan and yet still knocked them out. They made it to round of 16. They sacked their manager, Brian Priske, because it wasn't going well in the league. Then Robert Van Persie enters the field, and he had a fantastic record other than that game against PSV where they bottled it in the second half. Maybe they wanted to so that Ajax didn't win the league. But Feyenoord still had a decent season. They didn't win any trophies, but they did make Champions League football. I think it's qualifying rounds at least. Yeah, it's qualifying rounds for Feyenoord, so it's either the third or playoff round. Decent season. Now Van Persie, let's see if he has a good window. Now he can build upon it for next season. We'll see what players leave. We'll see what players arrive. But overall for Feyenoord, decent season and one they can definitely improve on. And I think they're going to be an exciting team next season with Van Persie. And we'll see if they qualify to the Champions League phase. And then Manchester United. Oh boy. I mean, they should have a tier list all on their own, but it's been in the gutter, in the ultimate gutter, and it's just built 100 meters down underground beneath the earth. It's just in hell. Oh my God. It's like, I can't even imagine how Manchester United fans feel this season. Obviously, as a Liverpool fan, it's fantastic. I'm loving life. Oh, wow, this is fantastic to see. But you really have to deep to yourself and say, what is this club going to do now? What are they going to do? Where did they finish? Was it 14th in the Premier League? I know Spurs finished 17th. So I think, where did they finish? 14th? 15th. They finished just ahead of Wolves on goal difference. Because they had a minus 10 goal difference, they only scored 44 goals. They scored less goals than Wolves, West Ham, Brentford scored 66 goals, and Manchester United scored 44. Another team that had just... How many of these teams actually changed managers? Sporting sacked their manager, Lyon, Feyenoord, Leipzig, Milan, Manchester United, Juventus. I mean, a lot of these teams sacked their manager during the season. I'm really perplexed on what they do now. Okay, you get Cunha. Does that solve everything? No, it doesn't. I think their objective next season, Manchester United, bro, just get top 10. Get top. You don't have to worry. You know, Amorim talking about, I don't have any training. By the way, Amorim, stop doing interviews. Why is it every week, every day, we see this guy doing an interview like he's doing a TED Talk? Like he's what's that guy? The inspirational talker, the motivator. You know who Amorim is right now? He's Tony Robbins. Oh, motivation, guys. We're gonna do it together. Look, I love Amorim. I think he's a superb manager. What he did for Sporting, and every Sporting fan can talk about it. Where they were at and where he brought them was amazing. That's why you don't want to hear this word, Manchester United fans. Patience. Look at your team. Garnacho is just a spoiled kid. This guy thinks he has the ability of Cristiano Ronaldo, and he has the ability of Stuart Downing. That's his ability. Maybe you could even say Stuart Downing is better than Garnacho. These are the sort of issues that Manchester United have. They have too many rotten players in their squad, like a Luke Shaw, like a Garnacho. Players like Bruno Fernandes, say what you want about the guy and how he treats the football. The guy still does it well. He still has performed in the Europa League. If Bruno was not there this season, Manchester United are not making it to the Europa League final. Everything went terrible in the league. Everything went terrible in the Carabao Cup, to the FA Cup, to the point where they got to the Europa League final. Crazy, just games against Lyon, to Athletic Club, to the Real Sociedad, where they're playing some good football. You can see Amorim's tactics are really working well. It's just that Europa League final was just the ultimate just knife to the heart and just saying, this team is rotten. This club is rotten. And Sir Jim and the ownership and whatever sporting director they have, the fact that they're laying off people and they can't like give them money or pay their salary, like, it's sad. It's sad for the people that have worked at Manchester United for like 30 years, like the canteen ladies, the masseuses or whatever, and they can't even do that. Like, everything is just so bad for this. Like, they just needed this season. They needed a serious wake-up call where it hurts them the most for the ownership in the pockets. We'll see now if Sir Jim and the Glazers are going to wake up, because if they don't wake up from this, it's only going to be, it's going to continue like this. Manchester United will continuously finish top 10, like 10th, 8th to like 14th consistently. Because you look at other teams and how they're establishing themselves, like a Villa, like a Newcastle, heck, even Brentford, Nottingham Forest. These teams mean business. So if Manchester United don't act like a big club, look, Cunha is a good signing. What Manchester United desperately need is a striker. What they desperately need is probably a new goalkeeper. So I don't know what's going to be in store for Manchester United for the next couple of years, but at least now they can focus on one game a week. Amorim has to start off well next season. If he's like 7th to 10th by Christmas, you know, Manchester United fans, sack him, the fraud, sack him. When he was hired, the Montclair jacket, the guy's got swagger. Oh, the bald fraud Ten Hag, he was never going to work out. 6 months later, another Andres Villas-Boas for these guys. It's like, people are so crazy. The way they were talking about him when he was hired to the point when they're at right now, it's the same players. The players are the issue. I know Amorim should take some slack as well, but you can just, like, Garnacho is a perfect example of some of the mentality for the Manchester United players. That's exactly the problem. We'll see if anything changes. Manchester United are lucky to be in the Premier League. If they were a Serie A team, they would be on the way to a third league. If they were a Serie A, oh, you mean they would be to finishing third in the league? No. Even if Manchester United were in the Serie A, they probably would have finished like 11th or 10th. They're not beating Bologna twice. They're not beating Fiorentina twice. Okay? I know they did very well in the Europa League. Look, one game a season. League is completely different to the Europa League. Ineos already ruined a cycling team. It's looking slightly better this season. Oh, wow. I didn't know that. I know he owns a cycling team. United should sign tips. Oh, boy.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
You can't get worse than this. You can't get worse than this. This is so bad. Højlund and Garnacho. Like, shout out to Diallo. The guy doesn't deserve it. Doesn't deserve it. It's terrible. That would be a good signing. I think that would be a good signing. If the Prem had better promoted teams, United would have been relegated. Also Spurs. I think those two teams would have been in huge trouble. Huge trouble. Big up GTV. Remember, guys, go subscribe to GTV. I definitely think Amorim will surprise people next season. I do agree. I think a minimum expectation for them is just finish top 10. If you get 7th place, 6th place, I think that's a great season. We'll see what they sign, but for where they're at right now, they just got to be patient. They have to be patient. Okay, Bayer Leverkusen. A decent season. Look, they didn't win any trophies. They finished 2nd place in the Europa League, in the Bundesliga. They got Champions League football. They obviously lost to Arminia Bielefeld in the DFB Pokal. They got embarrassed by Bayern Munich in the Champions League. Now, what the future holds for them. So that's why it's a decent season. Look, Bayer Leverkusen, maybe people would have picked them to win the Bundesliga. It just felt like it was inevitable that Kane was going to get his first trophy and Bayern Munich were going to return to the pedestal of German football. I think it's still been a decent season. Look at where RB Leipzig were. Bayer Leverkusen were consistently top two, top two. In times, they got a little bit close to Bayern Munich, but not enough to really challenge. Now, Xabi Alonso leaves. Frimpong is leaving. Jonathan Tah is leaving. It looks like Florian Wirtz is leaving. We're going to see wholesale changes. And their new manager is Erik ten Hag. What would you guys give a rating for that hiring for Bayer Leverkusen out of 10? I think it's actually an 8.5 out of 10. I think Ten Hag is actually going to do well. I think he will restore his legacy right now, because his legacy is in the dumpster after the Manchester United, but he still won trophies at Manchester United. And I think at Leverkusen, it's not going to be great the first season because they're going to have a lot of changes, but these players have been coached so well from Xabi Alonso, from the likes of Grimaldo to Boniface, Patrick Schick, Alex Garcia, Granit Xhaka, Hincapié, Tapsoba. Like, they got good players. But now they got to find adequate signings over the summer. And I think Ten Hag can deliver them again top 4 football, maybe even a trophy. What other good hiring could have been? Obviously, they wanted to go for Cesc Fabregas, but it doesn't look like Cesc is going to leave Como. Why would you? Why would you leave one of the most popular travel destinations for the rich in the world? Stay there, Cesc. And I think by Leverkusen, a decent season, they can definitely improve on it next time around. Well, big up Curtis. Leverkusen are finished. They're going to finish in 5th, 8th place in the Bundesliga next season. Mark my words. I don't think so. I don't think they're going to have that drastic of a drop-off. I'm just trying to think. Who could they go for, like, right back? What do Bayer Leverkusen would need? They're probably going to need right wing, left wing, although probably Grimaldo could play on the left wing. Yeah, I'm really intrigued to see what's going to happen here. Yeah, I'm as well intrigued. Big up, Tom. You're going to come and see any of those matches below? You mean for South Korea? Yeah. Preview for all the international football, by the way, people. AFC, UEFA, CONMEBOL. Those videos are coming out later this week. Tom, you'll like this shirt, by the way. New addition to the club. By the way, there's some sites where you can get 21 euros for kits, and it's pretty decent. All right, let's go back to the tier list. If you haven't done so already, please so kindly hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. We got 57 of you watching. Only 38 people like the stream. Come on, people. It is almost 11 o'clock here where I'm at, giving you somewhat golden content. If you care so likely, hit the like button. Yeah, of course, man. Send me the link. No, man, this is a solo mission right here. Solo mission. Send me the link for the kit. Hit me up on the socials. Yeah, people, if you don't follow me on Instagram, Twitter, links to those description down below, or join the Discord as well. I can send the link there as well, because it's a pretty good site, and I got some decent kits from there. Okay, AS Roma, also decent. I mean, this could have been... am I being harsh? Am I being harsh to AS Roma? Big up, Tom. Hey, Tom, thank you for the kind donation, buddy. Really appreciate it. $2 US. Hopefully those tariffs don't hit me here in Spain. Big up, Tom. Thank you for the kind donation. Yeah, it's been a good season for AS Roma. Would I go good? Because that first half of the season was so trash. It was so trash for that first half of the season for AS Roma. Remember, they were like 4 points, 3 points off the relegation. They had De Rossi. Then they saw Ivan Juric. Oh my God, this guy's going to be the savior. The fact that he got sacked and went to Southampton, that was a terrible move, by the way. And then the only man that could save them this season was Claudio Ranieri. The job he did, actually, let me just look at their... I think for the last 20 games, I think AS Roma were the best team in Serie A. I'm just going to fact check myself here. I think that's the case, or at least they're top 2. I know that for sure. Last 20 games. Oh my God. Dios mío. Okay, let's just... I'll go back to the... you guys have to see this. Where is it? There we go. Look at this form by AS Roma, people. This is... What? Last 20 games, they had 49 points, conceded 11 goals. What was their form the last 20? Yo, Claudio Ranieri did a madness. He did a madness. This is... crazy what he did to like. He basically saved his club because if AS Roma didn't get European football and they made it to the Europa League round of 16, and granted it was an Athletic Club in the round of 16, Mats Hummels getting that crazy. Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. Getting that crazy red card. AS Roma still bounced back and had a fantastic season. Like the football they played, it's Claudio. Very organized team. Gets Smordov, Dovbik 1 or 2 goals. Also, Matteo Sule. I think Matteo Sule, by the way, guy's a baller, man. Such a good Manu Kone as well, baller. What a midfielder he's going to be. I'm intrigued to see what AS Roma are going to do for next season. But I think now, for the rest of this year, or at least for the summer, people, I don't know if you've been seeing the links. There's links that Gasperini could be the AS Roma manager. If Gasperini arrives in the Capitale, I think AS Roma fans can start having some high expectation. It will be intrigued to see what Gasperini would do with AS Roma, but I think he's got the players there, like an Angelino, Zelik. I think he'll probably need like a right wing back. Their midfield is good though. You got Paredes, you got Kone, you got Matteo Sule, you got Dovbik. Then you just need somebody else up there. I think Dybala is a free agent this summer or maybe next season. So if they get Gasperini, but overall this season, actually, you know what? Because it is Claudio Ranieri, and he's retiring, let's give it to the Tinkerman. Good season for AS Roma. Really good season. Okay. Now, this one is going to be a very interesting debate here, people. Where would you put Spurs? Where would you put Spurs? Because they did win their first trophy in 17 years. But we cannot forget they didn't win any other cup. And they finished 17th. They finished 17th in the league. I'm just like, I don't even know how to comprehend that. I haven't, like, Sevilla won the Europa League 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, against AS Roma, and they finished 12th in the league. Inter, 1994, I think they won the UEFA Cup and they finished 14th. I don't know where to put Spurs, I think you have to just go with good. I think you just have to go with good because they won a trophy. And that's it. That's it. Just forget about everything else. This is Spurs. The one thing every Spurs fan wanted from Ange this season, what they wanted from Conte, what they wanted from Mourinho, what they wanted from Poch, what they wanted from Harry Ragnapp, what they wanted from Nuno Espirito Santo, deliver us a trophy. Ange did it after 17 years. So it's good a season. Now, granted, the league form, wow. It was terrible. Like, seriously terrible. I don't know where would you put them, but because it's Spurs, and I don't want to do that to them, but it's like for this fan base, I don't think they even cared about like, okay, let's get to European football. Of course, they wanted to finish still in the top 7, but you have to also add some context to this season. Milan, did they have a lot of injuries? No. You could say the same thing for Manchester United, but it's just like everything around Manchester United is so bad. RB Leipzig, they didn't have a lot of injuries. Spurs had seriously all of their players injured. The entire defense and goalkeeper out for like a month. There was no Cuti Romero, Van de Ven, Vicario. They were all out, people. So if Liverpool, or let's say Arsenal, let's say Barcelona, if they lost all of their defense and the keeper, I think teams would struggle. But also, I think Ange has to take a lot of slack for the terrible football they played in the league. There was no tactics. It was just vibes football. The crazy high line that he wanted to play. It's just like, I love Ange. I think he's a really good manager, but he really fumbled in the league. But they won the Europa League, playing a completely different way. They played a more organized defensive shape, and it was wonderful to see from Spurs. So I guess some people say, yeah, it's a disgrace, by the way. Yeah, it's a disgrace. I agree. Tottenham play in the Champions League next season plus the trophy. So good is right. I think we just have to go with good. I know some people in the chat here are saying it's been a decent season. It's been a forget and move on. Look, they lost 22 games. I get it. If my team lost 22 games, I'm going on a sabbatical. I'm going to like Vanuatu, and I'm not talking to people for 3 months. I might not even watch football for a whole season. I might just stick to Formula One until it gets to Monaco weekend and then go back to football. Yeah, look, the man gambled, and it worked out. It worked out for Spurs. So Spurs, good season. Merely on if they didn't win the Europa League, they would be straight in the gutter. They would be straight in the gutter and would be immediately sacked. Daniel Levy would be, oh man, the pitchforks would have been out for Daniel Levy. They would have been. Okay, this is going to be interesting. How many teams do we still have left? Oh, we still got a whole. Okay, we're going to have to move on a little bit more because we've been going for an hour. Oh boy, I hope you people are hitting the like button for this. Hope you guys are hitting the like button. Benfica. It's probably going to have to go there. I know that they got second place, and I'm intrigued to see what Benfica fans are saying in the chat right now. Roger Smith got sacked. Bruno Lage comes in. Champions League, they lost to Barcelona in the round of 16. Granted, they did play competitively well against Barcelona, I thought. League could have been a little bit better. Cup, they lose to Sporting. Some of the signings didn't really work out. Di Maria is about to leave the club. I think it's confirmed right now. Pavlidis was amazing. Other players, I think Kochko had a better season compared to the last one. I think Benfica, it's just to forget and move on. Look, your rivals, they did you twice. And I know some Benfica fans follow me on Twitter, so shout out to you guys. They said, Rui Costa, this guy, he needs to go. This season has been an abomination. I think an abomination season for Benfica would be what Porto or what Boa Vista happened to them this season. Boa Vista got relegated, so oh boy, man, that owner is a criminal. He's an absolute criminal. But I think for Benfica, just forget to move on. Make better signings. Bruno Lage, I think he actually did a pretty good job in certain moments. The cup was so controversial and just a crazy game as it always is between the two rivals. I just think for Benfica, it's just to forget and move on. Get some good signings ahead of the Club World Cup. Advance far in that competition. And then let's see. Do you keep Bruno Lage? Do you move on for him? I think Benfica need a good Club World Cup, though. That's what I would say to them. So, yeah, just forget and move on. I know your biggest rivals did you twice this season in the league and the cup with the final match day and the final, but it's one you're just going to have to forget to move on and just isolate in some decent town somewhere. Arsenal, decent season for Arsenal. I don't think people can be critical. Some of the signings, like a Sterling, didn't work out. Calafiori, good. Sometimes pretty poor. Other times, they made it to the Champions League semifinal, people. So Arteta proved some people wrong, and they dealt with a lot of injuries too. Saka out for a long time. Ødegaard, no Kai Havertz. Jesus gone. Gabriel out for majority of this season. So Arsenal, I think it's just a decent season. You move on. Like, it's nothing like forget to move on. A forget and move on season for Arsenal would be fourth or third. That would be their season. It's still been decent. Like, we can't forget the performance they put up against Real Madrid. Say what you want about Real Madrid. Been a terrible season for them. I still think Arsenal had a decent season, but they desperately need a striker. If they don't get a striker, because some clubs have different standards, bro. Like, let's be honest. Benfica, it's a forget and move on because you lost twice to your biggest rivals. You just want to erase it from your memory. I think for Arsenal, when it comes to just being decent, it's like, okay, we didn't win a cup. We finished second place. But now, I think next season, now they got a new sporting director. It's going to be a very much your last opportunity if you are Arteta. If Arteta cannot deliver anything next season, you're going to move on. You're going to definitely move on there. Atalanta, where would Atalanta be? I'm decent as well. I just think that's what Gasperini has built with this team. Gasperini has just built that even finishing in third place, Champions League, they made it to the playoff. They obviously lost to Club Brugge. That didn't go so well. Coppa Italia, they lost to Bologna, who won the Coppa Italia. I think Atalanta is just decent. And now, what will their future look like? If Gasperini leaves, their legend, the guy who brought them the Europa League, who has consistently developed these players like a Koopmeiners, Tuo Højlund, Couto Romero, Kulusevski, all of these players have been built under Gasperini. What does the future hold for Atalanta? I think they're gonna, if they're going to let go of Gasperini and he goes to, I don't know whether it's an Inter or AS Roma, I think they're going to start falling apart a little bit more. But they have such a good scouting system. But his coaching, his tactical flexibility, his tactical approach, this guy's a magician, man. He's a magician. Like, finishing third place and no trophy still is a decent season for Atalanta. It's not like a good season, fantastic season. Last season was fantastic for Atalanta because they won the Europa League. This season, decent. Good for them. Dortmund. I honestly think this has actually been a good season for Dortmund. And here's why. They've dealt with a lot of injuries too. The fact that they even hired Nuri Sahin because friendship code, friendship, hold hands, guys, we're going to do this together. I actually think the second half of the season, you made it to the quarterfinal of the Champions League. You actually gave a pretty good game to Barcelona. I can't remember what happened in the DFB Pokal. Who did they lose to? Obviously, some Dortmund fan will remind me. I actually think this has been a good season for Dortmund. It could have been so much worse. They actually played really good football in the end under Niko Kovac. And I really didn't think that was going to be a good hiring. But they turned the ship and they played good football. So, yeah, I think Dortmund had a good season. They always aspire. Every season is to make it to Champions League football. Just financially so massive for Dortmund. Now let's see what they can do. Yeah, look, I do get it. Maybe you could balance it out and say decent, but you guys still made it to the quarterfinals of the Champions League and gave a pretty good game to Barcelona, especially in the second leg. And yeah, I still think it's been a good season for Dortmund because, the amount of injuries that Dortmund had, it was terrible. It was terrible. I mean, Nico Schlotterbeck was out for the rest of the season before the Barcelona game. Was it after the Bayern Munich game or no? I think it was before that one as well. So. Okay, we'll balance it out. First half was terrible. Second half was great. Decent for Dortmund. Next team, though, fantastico. Fantastico for Barcelona. 3 trophies. Destroyed the league. Incredible Copa del Rey run. Knocking out Atleti. Beating, they're probably, we'll actually kind of sort that out later. Semifinals of the Champions League. I mean, it's just an incredible semifinal. There's nothing you really can do if you're a Barcelona fan. You can just say, hey, Inter, you won on this day. Barcelona have such a promising future. They gave us unbelievable, entertaining games. Like, if we did a list, people, of like the top 10 most entertaining games this season, Barcelona would probably have like 8 games there. They would probably have 8 games there because they've just been so entertaining and the football has been fantastic. Lamine Yamal has been a revelation, man. The kid is going to be the superstar of the world. And Pedri, his best season of his club career. Rafinha, his best season of his entire career. You see the emergence of Kubarsi, Szczesny going away from the red Marlboro packs to then going in goal and being 1,000 times better than Ter Stegen. It's been a fantastic season for Hansi Flick and Barcelona. Next season, you know what their ultimate goal is. Win the Champions League for the first time since 2015. Yep, 2015. So I think that's going to be the goal for Barcelona. Obviously, winning the league and showing the dominance still over Real Madrid. Yeah, Barcelona, fantastic season. Is it the best season? Let's see. We'll talk about it at the end. We'll talk about that at the end. But yeah, Barcelona, I mean, kudos to their fans. I think they should be very proud of their team. Most of their players coming from the academy. They only spent money on, was it Yera Martin or Pau Victor? And then obviously Dani Olmo. Great season. Fantastic. Same thing for Napoli. Fantastic season. They win the Scudetto after finishing 10th last season. Antonio Conte comes in, stays for one season. It's looking like Antonio Conte, unless there's some news I haven't heard of. Let me just quickly check if there's any update on Antonio Conte, whether he's going to stay or whether he's going to leave. Let me just quickly check on that. There is nothing here on Conte I can see as of now. So, yeah, fantastic season for Napoli. I do believe that this is his greatest achievement. Is it confirmed now? Is it confirmed? Is it confirmed, AD? Is it confirmed that Conte's leaving? Because I haven't seen anything, at least here. Let me quickly check. I mean, because I just need to see before we leave. Okay, I don't see anything here as of right now. But yeah, I mean, the fact that Scott McSauce won MVP is crazy to me. It's crazy, man. Like, the sort of season that Scott McSauce had, he's a legend for Napoli fans. He's a legend for them forever. So then you see Lukaku joining up with Conte one more time, having a great season, having more than 10 assists, more than 10 goals. His hold-up play was pretty good. And obviously, speed-wise, he doesn't have the speed anymore compared to his Everton days. But wow, Conte is the man. Rahmani, a great season. Merit, redemption arc after what happened. I mean, unbelievable work by Conte. Most of their signings worked out, except Noah Okafor, because, Noah Okafor is just not a good player. But you look at Gilmore, contributed. Billing even contributed. Scott McSauce, David Neres. All of these players contributed to Napoli having a fantastic season, winning the Scudetto for the 4th time in their history and the 2nd time in 3 seasons. I mean, I don't know what do we say here? What's going to happen to Napoli next season, though? I guess most big teams in Italy, besides an aging Inter team, are underwhelming, so they could win again. Yeah, they could probably win it again. And if they hire Allegri, because that's been kind of the rumor, I don't think actually that's the worst hiring. I don't like his football, but the guy's a serial winner. The guy he wins wherever he goes. I know the last time at Juventus it didn't go the greatest, but he still has that winning DNA about him. The football ain't great, but he can bring that winning culture still. But they're going to have to make some better signings in the forward position. Yeah, if they get a KDB and Jonathan David, wow, that'll be interesting to see. That'll be really interesting to see what Napoli can do. And they probably need a starting left back because, Spinazzola did a good job there. Matias Oliveira had to play a lot of the seasons at center back. So, but yeah, Napoli, fantastic season. I know they threw away the Coppa Italia, but that's Conte. He always does that. Now, let's see what the future holds. I think De Laurentiis, he learned his mistake when he fell out with the Spalletti. So now he understood, let me just leave on good terms with Conte. The fans can enjoy it, and then we can properly build for next season with the transfers, with the manager in. And I think Napoli will be fine. Will they win the Scudetto next season? I don't really think so, but I still think they can be competitive in Serie A. Yeah, I think so. Conte, Juve, Allegri, Inter seems to be... Wow. If Allegri goes to Inter, oh my God. I would love to see them. All these Inter fans that have said, oh, Inzaghi should... You are really in for a rude awakening. You really are. Okay. Conte should go back to Italy national team. Oh, man. Yeah, it should be. Roma, Napoli, Juve, Milan, Inter, all new managers. Interesting. Yeah, it could be that Inter also will not have a manager. And Atalanta. Also Atalanta too, AB. Yeah, look, the top 4 all could be... I need an audio that says Calcio is back. And Calcio football is the greatest. Do I have an equivalent of that here?
I have to talk about facts because I think it's important.
I love this game!
Calcio football never change, man. Never change. Please, never change. Okay, Manchester City. Let's move on. Forget to move on. Just a terrible season. Terrible. I wouldn't say in the gutter because they still got top 5 and they got Champions League football for next season. Champions League football embarrassed by Real Madrid, and we know Real Madrid, terrible season by them. Carabao Cup. I don't know what happened to them there. I think they lost to Spurs. I think it was Spurs. Then the FA Cup final. They lose to Crystal Palace. Football is fantastico. I might need that. I think I need to get that one. But yeah, Manchester City just... I think you can blame it on injuries too. But they spent 200 million to try and fix the situation in the January transfer window. And it didn't immediately fix. I think it'll like the April, late parts of March, and then May, they saved their season. Otherwise, it could have been even worse for Manchester City. If they spent 200 million in the January transfer window and didn't get top 5, then it would be in the gutter. But because they still got Champions League football, it's a forget and move on. They need to get some good signings, though. How they are not linked to any CBs is beyond me. And a goalkeeper, too, because Ederson could be leaving. Can you imagine? They signed the guy, Vitor Reis from Palmeiras. Did he play a single minute? Foden, this entire season was a no-show. Yes, look, Rodri going down injured. I mean, one guy going down injured and the house goes up in flames. Come on. It can't be that bad. Well, they still got third place. No trophies. You know, for one thing, for sure, they're spending money this summer, and Pep will come back with some new tactics. I think we're going to see a different Pep. We're going to see a different Manchester City. But at least for this season, forget and move on. One of the worst bottle jobs we have seen in recent memory. And it pains me to say it. I mean, if you ask before the season to Ajax fans, hey guys, you're going to get top 5, you're going to get Champions League football, and that's okay. You'll still finish second behind PSV. We know PSV are still the best team in the Eredivisie. It's okay. Don't worry. I think Ajax fans, they would have taken it. They would have been very happy with this entire season. But it's the context. It's the context that happened. I know. Look, shout out to Captain Deadpool. Still decent season in my opinion compared to the previous year. 100%. What we saw from Ajax the last 2 to 3 years has been an abomination. They've been terrible. We cannot forget this team was 9 points ahead with 5 games to go. You can never even think about the 24-25. I know, I get it. Ajax don't have the greatest squad. I get it. Brian Brobby should not lace the boots or put the shirt of the Ajax shirt on anymore. He shouldn't. What Ajax need to do is get a striker, develop a striker or something, because I cannot see Ajax going to next season playing UCL football with Wout Weghorst as their starting striker. I know he came up with some crucial goals in the later parts of the season, and he was actually really upset about losing the title because I think he's only got 1 trophy in his entire career. I think it's the Carabao Cup with Manchester United, but I think Farioli still did a great job. I really do, yeah. Shout out to Whoops. Other than the bottle jobs, Ajax, their season was good. They lost the title to small clubs, but because on all 4 games. Yeah, look, they did the double over PSV and Feyenoord. The one thing, though, I need to add about Ajax's season, I can't forget what happened in the Frankfurt game because Farioli he threw it out of the way. You cannot do that if you're Ajax manager. I was so pissed off when Farioli basically played a B team when he's 1 goal down for the Europa League quarterfinal. Or was it I think it was the playoff to get into round of 16. Forgive me, I can't remember exactly. I was so pissed off. You cannot do that if you're Farioli. You really can't, but still he did an amazing job, but it's just the bottle job. It's just so staggeringly bad. It's so bad, people. Like, this is one of the worst bottle jobs in history. And I know Ajax fans will say, Michael, we would have taken second place. I agree. Let's say if you finished 5-6 points behind PSV, they won the league with like 5 games to go. it would have been fine. It would have been a decent season. Actually, might have been even a good season for Ajax concerning where they were at. But wow, this is just a bottle job. It pains me to put them in forget and move on. But heck, you still got Champions League football, and I don't know what Ajax are now going to do. Farioli is leaving, which is really sad because I was really hoping he would have stayed and gone to see what they were going to do. Yeah, and he's only been a manager for one season, if I'm not mistaken, the guy. Won the cup, but he extended his contract. Latest news is Van Bommel. Please, no, man. Not Van Bommel. Please, not Van Bommel. Please, not Van Bommel. Oh, my God. If I see Mark Van Bommel as Ajax manager, like, why are the Ajax board so obsessed with getting another Dutch manager? Clearly, you saw the foreign manager in Farioli work. Just go for another one. It's not always the worst option. Come on now. You cannot go for Van Bommel. Oh, he's going to play the total football the Ajax way. These players can't do that. That's why Farioli had to play this sort of football. I mean, come on, man. But anyways, moving on. Yeah, Ajax, forget to move on. Forget to move on. PSG, fantastic. I mean, I don't know what people think. And I did say this in my Champions League final prediction and preview. Go check that out on the channel right now, people. It's out on the channel. I think for PSG, if you're a neutral, do you think they've kind of changed the narrative about them that they're not just this, flamboyant, money-based team? Obviously, they still spend a lot of money, like Pacho, João Neves, Derse, Doué. These guys were signed last summer. Savanov, these sort of players. But it's like in the past, it was like too much superstars and the football wasn't equaling the amount of money spent. It's like in 2025, it's like for neutrals, they kind of enjoy the football PSG play because the forwards are exciting. The midfield is a mix of technicality and grit, and defensively, you see the two fullbacks and Nuno Mendes and Hakimi. You're like, man, I can get behind this team. Now, of course, the money they have spent over the last 10 years is the equivalent of the GDP of Palau, Vanuatu, and I don't know, throw in Equatorial Guinea there. But they're now making better signings. That's because of Luis Campos. And I hugely appreciate him as a sporting director because I just think he's absolutely phenomenal. The footballing brain he has to get, like I was saying over the season last year that Pacho was amazing. Look, they got Pacho, and look what he has done. I think he's been the absolute game changer of a signing they needed. Quevedo will get the hype, also a João Neves and a Desiree Doué. But they needed that sort of physicality defensively because Marquinhos, he's the captain, but he can't be the leader on the field. He doesn't show by example. Pacho, he's just such a good defender. So good. And PSG, the football they played, even though in the early parts of the season, we could say that it wasn't looking great. That Girona game, the Atleti game, the PSV game, it was like, oh, PSG might not even make it into the Champions League playoffs. Playoffs? Actually, do I have that video? Where's that video? Do I have playoffs here? Nope, I don't have playoffs here. It was bad. It was bad, but they rectified it, and now they're in the Champions League final. They could be the first ever French side to win a treble. It looked like it might be a very historic season for PSG and having the greatest season ever of any league on side. And I just like it. I just like watching PSG. Really do. First bag, Frankfurt Cell, who worked out. Nope, don't forget about Ndika. Don't forget about Ndika as well, AB, because he's been balling out. I'm trying to think of another one. There has to be another one out there. There has to be. Anybody in the midfield? Kevin Trapp, was he working? Did he work out at PSG? He was involved in that remontada. Yeah, so those are two. Yeah. Ndika as well, man. He's been class for AS Roma this season. Didn't even mention him in the video here. Yeah, but PSG, fantastic season. Am I going to add any more there for fantastic season? No, probably not. So if you want to rank it like between these clubs, I would probably have PSG 1, Barcelona 2, Yeah, I'll keep it like that. Yeah, I'll keep it like that. Yeah, that's good. We'll keep it like that. I think he was he a free? Was he a free or it might have been cheap? Either one of those. Either one of those. But yeah, let's move on. PSV, good season. That's all I can say because they lost to Go Ahead Eagles, Dutch Cup semifinals. Obviously, then Go Ahead Eagles made history and won their first title or trophy in 90-something years, but they won the league. Ivan Perisic, by the way, man, this guy at 36 years old, to see what he was doing in the later stages of the season, he knocked out Juventus. Like, what else do you want to do? What else do you want to do? I mean, the Champions League, they had a lot of injuries when they were playing Arsenal, but still, it was so bad from Peter Bosz. That home game was so diabolical. But they dealt with the injuries. They got Tillman back in the second half of the season. Tillman, Perisic, those are the guys. Those are the guys. And we'll see if those two players kind of stick around for next season or will they be transferred out. But it's been a good season for PSV. Back-to-back Eredivisie titles. Are they going to three-peat? Who could challenge PSV next season? I feel like Ajax can still get stronger, but it just depends on the manager. I kind of feel like Feyenoord could be the team next up to challenge PSV. Eventually, this streak will end for PSV. We'll see. We will see. All right, Porto. Yeah, look, it's been forget and move on sort of season as well. Obviously, Anselmi came in December, November sort of time. Europa League didn't go so well. I mean, with Porto, they just don't have the finances overall to really compete and make the signings. Obviously, Samo has been a bright spot, and Mora as well, the young starlet for them. But Porto just need time with Anselmi. I know some Porto fans are critical of the manager, but then I look at Porto's team and I'm like, it's like not Porto standards. Like Sporting and Benfica just have simply better players than Porto. That's why I think with Andres Villas-Boas now being the president and having to deal, and they basically fixed all their finances by selling Nico Gonzalez with 60 million. So Porto kind of saved themselves financially. Now they need better recruitment and a better season next year. They have to challenge Sporting and Benfica next year, especially with Sporting most likely losing Yerkeres. Benfica, we'll see what happens with them. So yeah, for Porto, just forget to move on. The cups, I actually don't know what happened. Let me see what happens in the cups for them. Did they even make it to the semifinals? I know they'll be playing the Club World Cup, so that's actually pretty good financially for them. Okay, so Cup, they lost in the fourth round, and the Taça de la Liga semifinals, and obviously they lost in the playoff in the Europa League. I think it was to AS Roma, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it was AS Roma. Yeah, it was 3-2 away they lost. So, yeah, cool. Before the season, Porto had never lost this badly to their biggest rival since Eusebio was playing. Oh, yeah, I forgot about the 5-0. Or was it 4-0 against Benfica at home? Oh, that was bad. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. Oh, boy, oh, boy. So, yeah, look, Porto has not been a good season. Just forget it and move on, buddies. Just forget and move on. You just need a better team. You need a better team. Sevilla, boy. If you want a team, like, of any of these teams, I know people want to joke about Manchester United being relegated. They will never be relegated. They won't. Sevilla are in massive trouble. They are seriously the team that I look at them and I'm saying to myself, they could probably get relegated. Because if they lose Bade, if they lose Luca Bacchio, it's just getting worse. It's getting worse. And I just look at their team and they just cannot do anything financially, people. They're like in 100 million euros in debt. They can't have I think they have like a shareholders meeting in like 2027 about like changing ownership or changing presidents. Sevilla are seriously in danger of getting relegated next season. We'll see what the promoted teams can do, like Levante and these sort of guys, but Sevilla are just such an abysmal team nowadays. I mean, this list had these teams, so I'm just going with that. But I've seen a lot of them this season. It's not like they've been bad, but it's just like they can't get over the line because they went with Iheanacho, terrible signing. Luca Bacchio has to do his greatest work. And then you just see like Isco was a flop there. Then he goes to their city rivals, to Real Betis, and he's just rejuvenated his career. I think it's just the instability in the back room, with instability with managers constantly changing over and over again. I think Sevilla just have to focus on just their academy and just building upon that. Once they can do that, then they'll be a good team. But in the gutter, and I think next season is going to get even worse. We always talked about Valencia. I think Sevilla are even in more trouble than that. Chelsea. This is before the Conference League final, people. I'm actually going to go... Do I go with a good season? I would go with a good season. I actually would go with a good season for Chelsea. Because for the last 2 seasons, they've been clowned upon. I know people will say about, look at the money they spent. I agree. I would say that they made it to the Conference League final, which is expected considering the teams they faced and the budget they have over the other teams. I mean, look at the disparity between Chelsea and Jurgen, for example. It's craziness. But I think they played really well in the first half of the season. And, people went crazy about the title talk. Bullshit. They were never in a title race. That team was not ready for a title race. But I think their objective and a good season would have been for them, make the Conference League final, win that trophy. Now, if they lose the Conference League final, and I expect them to win the Conference League final, I would probably move them down to decent. Okay, for now, because they haven't won the Conference League final, I'll put them in decent. If they win the Conference League, I would put them at good because that's a trophy. And the most important thing is they got Champions League football. They made it to the top 5, top 4. They really had to, it wasn't pretty, especially the Nottingham Forest away and the Manchester United at home, but they got the job done. I know people were waiting to just absolutely pile it on Chelsea fans and the Chelsea team, like, oh, look at you guys, you're spending $1 billion and you still can't get Champions League football. But Maresca's got to be a little bit quiet, though. The guy's talking about, oh, you were all negative. Well, yeah, because you were still playing really good football in the first half of the season, and then you went just too systematic. Let Cole Palmer do his thing. But Chelsea, I still think it's been a good season. Even if they lose the Conference League final, it's been a good season. Main objective was to get Champions League football, and they achieved it. So kudos to Chelsea, but they got to get a striker because Nico Jackson is definitely not that guy. And Real Madrid, forget to move on. It's not in the gutter. They made it to Champions League quarterfinal. They also made it to the Copa del Rey final. They also finished second place in La Liga. They had absolutely no defense at times. They had to play Lucas Vazquez at right back. Obviously, Mbappe entering the team you expect. Okay, Real Madrid, these guys are going to be unbelievable. They're going to destroy every team. Once Carvajal, Eder Militao, these sort of teams went down missing and got injured, you kind of knew that Real Madrid season was going to implode. And when they didn't get any defenders over the January transfer window, yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad, and it just completely imploded in the second half of the season. The terrible performance against Arsenal. I just think for Real Madrid, you just forget about it and you move on. And guys, they've already done that. They've already hired Xabi Alonso. They've already Carreras is coming into the team, most likely Huijsen, Trent. So you can tell Real Madrid have already moved on and forgotten about this season, and they are prepared for next year. And heck, Real Madrid, I can guarantee you, next season, they'll probably be up here, somewhere with one of those 2 seasons. But yeah, that's the list, people. Overall, PSG, I think they had the most fantastic season of any club in Europe. Obviously, Barcelona have a shout, but PSG made it to the Champions League final. They knocked out every Premier League team. So kudos to PSG. Barcelona worthy of being second. You could probably have Barcelona first. I wouldn't bat an eyelid if you did that as well. Then for in the gutter, I would probably have this. Yeah, that would be my list for in the gutter. I think Manchester United were by far the worst. By far the worst. I mean, there's just no way. There's just no way it was this. It can be this bad. Sevilla, it's kind of been the trend of Manchester United. It's like the trend is a little bit and then plummeted, like the stock market in 2008. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, people. Where would you rank this team? Which team can improve heading into next season? Which team is in really bad shape heading into next season? And which team can win the league in their respective league for next year? Let me know your rankings in the comments down below. Which team do you think was the best this year? Which team was the worst this year? And of course, hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. We're going to have a lot of international football content coming up in the next week, 2 weeks. We're going to have the previews for the CONMEBOL, the UEFA, and the AFC window coming up. We're going to have the review for the Champions League final on Saturday. We might have the Conference League final review tomorrow. So stay tuned for that on the channel. You got to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. And if you care, you can hit the notification bell. Up to you. That's up to you, people. That's up to you. Remember to join the Discord. That link, description down below. Also, follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Twitter. You guys can see that I'm uploading some more short content, so you guys can see that on these social media platforms. But after almost an hour and a half of speaking about every single club, it seems like, in Europe, have a beautiful day. Stay safe in this crazy world. Till next time, adios.